Today, globalization has become a societal norm. McDonald's and other fast food chains are the go-to for a quick meal, and we are bombarded by brand-name foods in supermarkets. Small, local organizations have taken it upon themselves to create healthy food choices in small communities. The Okanagan is no exception. The Central Okanagan Food Policy Council is a body of individuals working towards a food-secure Central Okanagan. Anyone in local communities can join, including Lake Country, Kelowna, West Bank, First Nation, West Kelowna, Peachland, and the Regional District of Central Okanagan.
Hi, my name is Jenica, and I'm the 2014 chairperson of the Food Policy Council.
My name is Alana Westers, and I was a member of the Food Council for a couple of years.
My name is Anne Jackson, and I am a board member for the Central Okanagan Food Policy Council.
So my name is Elsa, and I am a board member at large for the Food Policy Council.
Why did you join the Food Policy Council, and what are you doing with it?
I really wanted to just make an impact in the place where I lived rather than just thinking globally. And I looked up this organization and I joined as a volunteer with the Fruit Tree Project, and now 2 years later I'm the chairperson of the Food Policy Council.
I'm a landscape architect and a farmer by trade. So I'm very interested in producing food, and I'm very interested in producing usable public spaces. The food forest is on regional park land, and I previously worked for the regional district as a parks planner, which was how we sort of got this all started up. And I was so interested in the project that I thought I would continue volunteering and eventually becoming a board member.
What are the different council aims and events?
The Food Policy Council aims to create a more resilient and sustainable community through engaging people around their local food system. And some of the different projects that we've worked on in the past are the Fruit Tree Project, which now have their own society. Another one of our great projects is this food forest, which you'll hear more about. We also do some advocacy around food policies.
How does the consumption of local organic food affect the Okanagan community?
The consumption of local organic fruit benefits the community in lots of different ways. The reduction of pesticides in the community is major. There's less pesticide runoff into streams and rivers, so it benefits the wider ecology as well. And the ecological health, but also the economic health of the community is benefited too, because that money is kept within the system. You spend money at the farmers market supporting those farmers, they put money back into the community, and everyone benefits.
What is the food forest?
It was kind of not an abandoned space, but this was a very underused space in this particular regional park. And so when the Food Policy Council came to me in my role as a parks planner and suggested this use, I was really excited because it's a way of really adding value to this park, a value that wasn't necessarily present previously, in that it could grow food and be an educational tool as well for kids and adults. This differs from a community garden in that it's less focused on the individual and more focused on the community.
So there's 7 layers to a food forest, and the idea is that it's eventually going to be self-sufficient, self-sustaining. You plant kind of base crop layers. You plant a lot of plants that can fix nitrogen in the soil and feed the other plants while they're growing. And you also grow plants that can produce mulch. You're growing it on site, and in the fall a lot of the trees and the mulch plants will drop their leaves, and you'll help it along as well by mulching it, by kind of chopping and dropping the leaves as well. And the idea is that it eventually becomes self-sufficient, and there's food forests around the world that are 2,000, 4,000 years old that are still producing fruit and with absolutely no input by humans.
What role does local food play in building community?
Well, I think if this project has shown me anything, it's that people are really interested in food in all of its forms. So the number of volunteers that we get to come out to our food forest events is pretty high. We always fill all of our volunteer spots when we have work parties or potlucks or planting parties, anything like that. So I think to me that shows that people are feeling like they really want to be connected to their food system. I think that food brings people together. So whether it's just coming to a really tiny space like this and harvesting a few berries or herbs, that's part of the food system. Obviously, at a bigger scale in the Okanagan, all of our vineyards and orchards, it's a whole different level, but it's still bringing people together to farmers markets and community gardens.
How does the food forest help people to feel connected to place?
Food forest is a part of permaculture, and part of that is all about building community and creating a sustainable future, sustainable habitat for people and for the wider ecology. By including more people and helping to sustain people via food self-sufficiency and by making food more available for people, we're helping to benefit the wider community. We've also involved the community a lot in the actual building and maintenance and kind of design of the food forest as well. So we've had several events called permablitzes where the idea is that many hands make light work. So we have 25, 30 people come out at one time. Everyone shares food. We have a big potluck. It's a really fun event. So hopefully already we've involved general society and tried to build community through those events. And we hope to do a lot more of that in the future.
Examples from the Fruit Tree project to the food forest. I mean, we're bringing food back at the center of the community, and that really means that more security, people understanding what it means to sit down around the table and share a meal together. And that's something that I really, really believe in, because if you have a sustainable community built around food, then you have a healthy community.
How is consuming local food an alternative to globalized systems, and what are the benefits?
I think it helps people to be more conscious and of where their food comes from and the impact that has not only on their own body and their health, but also on the health of the soil and the water in the place they live. Supporting local businesses, the money goes back into the community rather than out into to big corporations. So supporting local farmers, for example, the money is often reinvested in the community. Just building relationships with the people who grow your food is really special and really nice to get to know who's been working on the land, what kind of lifestyle do they have, and how you can support that, being part of just someone's livelihood, and rather than just having food from a faraway place and you have no connection with where it's from or who grew it. So those are some reasons, just the social aspect, the economic aspect, and you often hear vote with your dollars or vote with your feet, and I think that by supporting local food, it really is a big statement politically to say that we should be supporting our local economy first.
What is the Fruit Tree Project?
So the Fruit Tree Project started in 2012 as a committee of the Central Okanagan Food Policy Council, and it was started by a few individuals on the council who realized that we live in a very abundant community here in the Okanagan, but that a lot of food often goes to waste. And so the goal of the project is to turn backyard fruit trees into a valuable source of food for the community by harvesting fruit that otherwise would go to waste. And so how it works is volunteers come out and help pick the fruit. The fruit is then shared with the tree owner, the volunteers, and local organizations serving those in need in the community.
How is the Fruit Tree Project helping to develop community through food security?
We continue to work together to advance food security in the community. So what that means is making sure that everyone has access to enough food to meet their dietary needs. The Fruit Tree Project is specifically concerned with making sure that people have access to healthy food. And so what that looks like, for example, we increasingly have more volunteers who join our organization because they're looking to take home some food for themselves.
What is your vision for a food-secure Okanagan?
So to me, a food-secure Okanagan looks like people supporting their local farmers markets, joining community gardens, learning about permaculture, joining the Food Policy Council, making their voices heard about local food issues. Specifically, I think the Fruit Tree Project, with the support of the Food Policy Council, is doing a really great job in engaging the community in these food issues through hands-on work, picking fruit and sharing it among the community.
What is globalization and how does it impact you?
What is globalization to me? I guess it's kind of the shrinking of the world, really. You're going to start seeing more products from all over the world, and you're kind of affected by what happens across the world. I guess it impacts me the same as it does everybody else, where you can get much cheaper products from foreign industry, and not really aware of the process of what it took to get that cheaper product.
I think it impacts everybody in that our cultures, they change, and things that once were important to you in the community are no longer as important, and different values come in, which is fine in its own way, but I think it does definitely, if taken too far, detract from, local community involvement.
Do you eat locally or organic?
I do buy organic fruit because I just, everything I've read on it, it's much healthier, it's better for you, even though it is a little bit more expensive. But I think it's just the fruit that I stick to.
Because I live with my parents, I eat whatever they buy. I don't get much of a choice. But we do tend to prefer organic, especially if it's something without much of a peel on it. Like strawberries especially, we get organic only. Whenever I am in charge of the groceries, I try to look at what's going to be better for me. Looking at organic ingredients, healthy choices. So I guess I try to vote that way.
Do you think that buying locally encourages or creates community relationships?
Yeah, I guess it would create some community relationships. People are going to be more familiar with their local farmer than a grocery store that you go to. So I guess it's a good thing, yeah. It probably strengthens the community to a certain degree, I would say.
Absolutely. I think that there is a greater connection with the product. Commodity fetishism is something that I don't really think about so much when it's something that's local. You really look at who produced it, where it was produced, where the ingredients are from. And I think that there is a greater community involvement because of that.
Every time you make a purchase, you are voting for a particular brand. When shopping for food, whether local and organic or not, you are supporting the producers of that specific product. Therefore, the Central Okanagan Food Policy Council encourages community members to buy locally grown food. What do you think about voting when you make a purchase?
I think it's a form of voting because you're supporting whatever you buy, so you're kind of giving your support and your money towards that, and it kind of votes towards you're probably going to buy it again.
I think the whole concept of voting with what you purchase is quite flawed because you may be voting for organic, locally grown food, but Walmart is the #1 seller of organic foods in the world. So although we are voting for organic, in the end we're not really voting for a lot of the morals that come with it.
Agriculture is the Okanagan's largest and most important commodity. Globalization has had an impact on the local community. As individuals steer towards convenient box stores and brand name products, local producers are facing new challenges. Organizations like the Central Okanagan Food Policy Council are working towards creating new community relationships through outreach programs like the Food Forest and the Okanagan Fruit Tree Project. Through these programs, community members are more aware of the process of food production and distribution.